It's the night before your first academic games tournament. You're all ready, you've got your strategies pulled up, but you don't know how the tournament works. This video is going to help explain you how regional tournaments work, mostly for the state of Michigan. And you're going to have a better feel and you're going to be prepared for your first tournament after seeing the video. I hope this video can help players be more prepared for their first tournament and help the tournament directors and coaches run the tournament more smoothly. So, performing well at your tournament really starts the night before. Tournaments are held on Saturday mornings, so make sure you get a good night's sleep on Friday night. Save your partying for Saturday night. When you wake up, make sure to eat a nutritious breakfast because you're expected to be at the tournament at 8:30 and it ends at around noon. Make sure you have a couple of pencils, paper, and it's also recommended but optional to bring a light snack and water. Your coach might have specific instructions for you, so follow their instructions if they have anything they want you to bring extra. You arrive at the tournament, check in with your coaches. Although you're supposed to get there at 8:30, the real tournament starts at around 10 because the directors are setting up the tables and getting registration information. Until then, your coach will probably tell you to review your information or play academic games with a couple of your teammates, just informally. Before 10, around that time, a little bit before, your coach will give you your table number and your ranking. Your table number is a table that you sit at once you get inside of the tournament room. So for example, one table might be labeled table 1, table 2, table 3. And they'll also have symbols like MBE, for example, minor basic equations, or EBE, elementary basic equations. That's what you're playing. If you're minor, you'll see that tag, your coach will tell you which one you get. You'll just find the table and the tag, and that's where you sit at in the tournament room. The tournament consists of 3 rounds that are each 30 minutes long. If you're wondering which games you're going to play in each of the rounds, your coach will tell you beforehand. Usually the first tournament is just all 3 rounds equations. Sometimes there's equations on set equations. It really varies. You'll know beforehand which games you're going to play in each round. So once you sit down, it should be a 2-player game or a 3-player game. Remember, no 1 or 4-player games. Although each round is 30 minutes long, there isn't really a timer that's put up anywhere, so you can't really count how many minutes you've been playing. But the director will give you a 5-minute warning. So when there's 5 minutes left, the director will go on the intercom and say, "This is your 5-minute warning. Do not start a new shake." And you won't start a new shake, and that will be your last shake. That'll tell you, don't start a new shake. You're done after this one's over. Further on, once the 30 minutes is over, they're going to tell you, stop, do not move another cube. And then you're going to go into what's called a force out, which is basically a last cube procedure, except that it happens no matter how many cubes are left. You just go right into a force out. If you don't know what a force out or last cube procedure is, click here and watch that video. I made a video on how that works, and you can watch that one. At the end of each round, players turn in a score sheet. Your ranking against the players that you played against will determine where you move next. Notice how at the top, minor was circled, equations was circled, and then table 2 and round 1 were written. The coaches and the directors have this pre-marked for you before you arrive at the tournament, so this is just where you're playing at what level, so the coaches have that already written. So at the top here it says print name, first plus last. Print your name, your first and last name very neatly, and also put your school as well, your full school. And that's just the beginning. That's how you label before the whole round starts. So you might be wondering, what do these numbers 1 through 8 represent? Well, each one represents a shake that you play. You do not have to play all 8 within 30 minutes. Usually people get within 2 to 3 per round. In this case, they got to 3. So at the end, they total up their score. So player A got 14, player B got a total of 8, and player C got a total of 10. Player A has the most points, so they get first, and first is represented by a 6. Player B was third, and they got 2, and then player C was at 10 in the middle, and they got 4. So that's what 6-4-2 represents, first, second, third. In case you tie for first, you and the player that you tied with would get a 5. If you tied for second place, then you and the player that you tied with would get a 3. And make sure your initial at the bottom, signifying that you agree with the scores that are written. So now you might be wondering, well, I've played 1 round. What about the other 2? Do I just play against the same people again? Well, no. There's a process called bumping, which moves you to a different table. So if you got first place, meaning you got a 6, then you would move up a table. Technically, the tables are labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, with 1 being the highest, so you'd actually move down 1 numerically. So in this example here, player A was the winner, and they were at table 2. Player A would move down a table to table 1. They technically moved up in ranking though. Player B got 3rd, so player B would move down to table 3, and player C would just stay put because they got 2nd place. They would not move, they'd play at table 2 again. There are a couple of exceptions to the bumping rule, however. First of all, if you tied the player in 1st place, meaning you got a 5, or you tied for 2nd place, meaning you got a 3, then you would roll a dice with the person that you tied with. If you were tied for 1st place and you won the dice roll, you would bump up, meaning you'd move down numerically. If you lost, you would just stay put. If you were tied for 2nd, you would roll the dice, and if you won, you would stay put, and if you lost, you'd have to bump down, numerically move up a table. Let's say, for example, that 3 players had a 3-way tie on table 3. They would all roll the dice. Let's say that we had player A, player B, and player C. Player A rolled the lowest number, so they would have to move to table 4, they'd be bumped down. Player B rolled the highest number, meaning they would bump up, numerically move down a table, from table 3 to table 2. And player C got a number in the middle, so they would just stay at table 3. This means as you're winning rounds, you're moving closer to table 1, and as you're losing rounds, you're moving closer to the last table. So once you're done with all your rounds and you're ready to go home, you might have to still sit in your chair for a couple more minutes while the judges are getting the scores put in. Please remember to stay quiet during this time and to be respectful, for the tournament directors are putting as much effort as you to really make this tournament run smoothly. So yes, there are awards being given for these tournaments. There are a couple that are given out. The first one is called the Top 5. This takes the top 5 players from each school and adds up their scores. The highest schools get awarded. The next one is called the Average Award. This one takes all the players' scores and averages them. The school with the highest numbers gets that award. So we've covered pretty much everything you need to know to have a smooth experience at your regional tournament. For more information, please consult your state's league's website. For Michigan, you can go to mlogonline.com. Thank you and stay tuned for more content.